Hey guys, Freaky here. Today I'm bringing a tutorial on one of KartRider's most iconic map, Up and Down. This is a fundamental map that requires all the basic skills necessary to play the game well, and it is also a good indicator of how well a player can control their kart. As usual, I'll start off with my best run, then explain the build after, so feel free to skip ahead. Here we have a very standard start. You want to perform 2 cut drifts to charge a nitro for the first corner. The direction of the first cut drift doesn't really matter, but I like to start with the left cut drift. On the first corner, you want to perform a special kind of drag, commonly referred to as Asian drift. For beginners and those not looking to hit 139, don't worry about this technique yet. I will cover this in a future video. Just perform a normal drag to charge 1 nitro. The next 2 curves both require a cut charge. They are connected, so I'll explain the full sequence. I like to start my drag a little bit after the shadow on the ground. As soon as my nitro meter is full, I perform a cut charge. You want to keep an eye on your nitro meter to make sure you collect the nitro when cutting. As I enter the start of the next curve, I immediately switch my drag direction. This is crucial to maintain your speed. Notice on the left, the color of the sidewalk changes. I like to use this as an indicator of when I should switch my drag direction. The second curve is not as wide as the first, so on my first drag, I perform a double drift to stay close to the wall and then cut charge. Now here there are 2 main ways to tackle this upcoming hill. I like to take the sidewalk to cut the inner line. Before exiting the hill, I perform a short drift, then perform a landing drag, starting at the edge of the sidewalk. I tap my direction key once on the sidewalk to maintain a good angle and straighten out when I land back on the road. While you can make the sidewalk without performing a short drift before the ramp, it's much faster to get a short drift in as there will be a smooth transition into the landing drift. To take the sidewalk, it's necessary to line yourself up well beforehand or you will miss the jump or hit the wall drifting on the sidewalk.
Nope.
If your goal is only to hit sub 145 for the title, don't worry about the sidewalk. Just perform a short drift followed by a landing drift on the main road. For the following curve, I perform another Asian drift. This builds my nitro meter a little, making it easy to charge my next nitro. Again, for beginners, just perform a normal drag. On the freeway entrance, I let my auto mini boost pop and drag only at the very top of the slope. Now on the freeway, you will need to charge 2 nitros to get across. I perform a double S charge starting from right to left. After the first S charge, I immediately perform an S charge in the opposite direction. If you're struggling with chaining S charges like this, you need to make sure you're giving yourself enough room and using nitro throughout the entire process. Notice how I'm using the whole width of the freeway to S charge. So every time I pull my kart back, my meter is full and I collect 1 nitro. It's okay if you start the freeway short 1 nitro. Chaining 3 S charges instead is not that much slower. If your goal is only to hit sub 145 and you want something simple, you can just do a single S charge twice. I let my auto mini boost pop before using my next nitro, and on the freeway exit I drag lightly at the very end of the slope. Here I use a solid white line on the ground as a guide on where to point my card. For this next turn, I like to use the second lamppost on the right as a lineup of when to start my drag. I tap my left direction key once to keep a good angle, and as soon as I charge 1 nitro, I immediately start dragging to the right. This next curve is a long one, and you want to make sure you can get to the next turn before your nitro runs out. I double drift and drag extend until I make it all the way around. Notice that I only use my right direction key here. It will take a bit of practice to make sure you don't oversteer. On the next curve, I double drift again and drag extend until the peak of the slope. It's important to straighten out on the left side of the road to position yourself well for the final turn. I hold on to my next nitro until right before I land and then perform a double drift while I'm still on this slope. Once I hit the flat road, I widen out my angle to avoid the wall. Then I connect this drift with an S charge to cross the finish line. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. If you find this tutorial helpful, make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more. Thank you guys for watching.